Today we're going to actually talk about a conversation that I had with a buddy the other day, and he was explaining to me how he knows what he has to do to be better. He knows kind of the direction he needs to go or what he needs to do to live a better life. He knows. And all of you are extremely smart, extremely wise, very, very knowledgeable, way more than you know. But the problem is your neural wiring patterns, your habits within your brain, your response habits or reactions, I call them, are not matching the wisdom and the understanding that you have. And so all suffering starts with, one, the lack of understanding. If you have that understanding, though, then the next step is changing those neural habits. And that's the really hard part, and that's why we have the mental training revolution, giving you tools that are applicable that can actually change the wiring within your brain. Okay, but how does one build on that work ethic? How does one know they need to do something and actually build the habit of working really hard towards it? That is very difficult. There's tons of kids that know what they should be doing, but still don't do it because of those neural habits in their brain. So don't, beat yourself up about it. It's very, very normal to succumb to the habits of thought that you have in your brain that don't match what you know is good for you. Okay, that's called cognitive dissonance, and there's nothing to be ashamed about, okay, within that given circumstance. Okay, but there's a really, really, really good quote I heard the other day, and it's people talk about, you only live once, and this quote goes, you don't only live once, you only die once. You can live again any possible second, right? So every single moment is all that's real. This moment right now, that's the only thing that's real. Okay, so that means every single present moment, any moment where you realize that you're in the present or you finally become fully mindful and soaked into this moment, it's like a clean slate. So just like how people love New Year's resolutions, okay, it's called the clean slate theory. They think it cleans their slate, it cleans their past, they feel really good because they're doing it right now. You don't need to wait for the calendar year to pass over to have this clean slate theory feeling. You can do it every possible second and moment you're in this present moment because that's all that's real, right? The past is just present moment thoughts. The future is just present moment thoughts. The only moment that is real is right now. Now, what does that mean? Okay, that means we can let go of the past and the future, okay, and focus in on right now. But we can also, once we let go, drop those bags of the past and the future. That lets off a huge weight on our shoulders. That means we can let go of any past baggage, past thought baggage, or future thought baggage that have been holding us down. And so a lot of people, for example, like kids looking for jobs after they get out of college, majority of kids don't use their degree for the actual job they have later on in life, which is a crazy statistic. I don't know the exact numbers on it, so I'm not going to say it on here. But there's a ton of kids that don't use the degree they got, okay? And there's a lot of respect for those kids because a lot of people think they've gone down this path and they've gone so far that they can't restart or they can't change. You can, because remember, the present moment is the only thing that's real. So you can always clean that slate, okay? You can always clean that mental baggage we have of beating ourselves up for having that cognitive dissonance, for doing things we know aren't good for us. We can clean that slate by being here right now because that's the only moment that's real. But never let future holdings or where you thought you were supposed to go keep you in a direction you know is not right for you. Okay, same thing with the past. You've thought this way your entire life. Who am I to start believing something completely different now? It doesn't matter because now is the only moment that is actually real. So you can use that clean slate every single moment that you realize you're here. Let go of those future concepts that you've been holding on to for so long and let go of those past ones that you've held on for so long. You can be a new person, a new way of living right now and be the best version of yourself when you're here, okay? So now back to the conversation I had with my buddy. How do we instill work ethic in somebody when they know what they're supposed to do but can't get themselves to do it? Okay, well, first we have to understand why. Okay, so why do we want the things we do? Okay, so lack of understanding, okay, is what causes us so much suffering. Okay, so our lack of understanding of not knowing why we do what we do, okay, is why so many people struggle and why people find it hard to get the ball rolling and get that work ethic going. Okay, and so constantly reminding yourself of why do I do this? Why is going to reiterate and push you and motivate you and pull you to do the task that you know you should be doing. So for an example, say you are wanting to make more money, okay? Why do you want to make more money? Okay, I want to make more money because I want to be happy. Okay, do I really think once I get this money, am I going to be happy? And you continue to find that definition, and then you're going to realize what the course of action is. And when you realize what the course of action is, and when you ask why over and over and over again, and then define the final answer, and that's very, very key, is you want to define the final answer. So if it is you want more money to become happier, okay, what does that happiness look like? Okay, define that. Okay, because then you know the actual aim you're supposed to be taking. And so once you've gotten to the bottom of the why barrel, okay, so what I like to do is ask 5 whys. Then you're going to have a much better understanding of why you're doing it, and you're going to be much motivated to actually take action on it. The second biggest key is being here, right? Like I just said, when we're here, we let go of everything else, okay? We let go of all those promises that we made to ourselves, thinking about the past, this is the way I've always thought. No, we let go of that. Right now, let's be the best version of ourselves. And right now, we can do that by opening our mind, being open to new ways of thought, being open to new worldviews, learning from people, learning from our own suffering, etc. Okay, but you can't do that if you're not here. And remember, the most growth potential lies in the amount that you're present. So if you're more present, you have more growth potential. Why is this? It's because you can intentionally be your best self right now. You can't intentionally try to be your best self, okay, if you're not here. The reason you get so lost and the reason you have that cognitive dissonance is because you're not here. Okay, it's because you're always thinking of what else you want to do. You'd way rather do this than work on what you know you're supposed to, right? So if you become more present and you come here now, that's where all the growth lies. And remember that growth is how fast we admit error. And so that kind of goes back to those future concepts we have, like with college kids or parents that have had the same worldview for 40 years. That's a lot of neural wiring, all thinking the same way, and that's how the world works. Just remember there's 7.8 billion different versions of the world, okay? There's reality, and we see reality and interpret that through our mind, all right? So that doesn't mean we're right. We're all wrong in some way, okay? And we get closer to that truth, to that right answer, that North Star that I like to use, okay, by contemplating our mind, being with our thoughts, learning what's more healthy for us, changing the way we relate to things, and stuff like that. Okay, that's how we get closer to that North Star. Okay, not holding on to all the ways we've thought our entire life. That is not the way to go, and that's not how we grow, because remember, being wrong is growing. Okay? And so those are the two biggest things. If you're trying to instill work ethic and you have that cognitive dissonance, you know what you need to be doing, but you can't get yourself to do it. One, ask why over and over again. You have a clear answer and motivation for why you're doing what you do. And the second is being here now more, because being here now more is where all growth lies, okay? And that's how you let go of all that baggage of time, okay? Because there is no time. The only thing that's real is this moment right now. And then the last thing I'll say is, of course, right effort. And so what right effort is how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And so putting forth that intentional best effort can only happen if we're here now, all right? But as we're here now, if we forget that why as we're here, okay, then we lose that motivation, that action, or that habit that we're trying to build. So for example, I did that weed whacker episode a couple weeks ago of how I wanted to whack the weeds because I wanted to do something that was against what my ego wanted. Okay, but the purpose of that drill for me was to learn to better my awareness in situations where I don't want to be there. Okay, and I kind of forgot my why a few times through that activity. I lost some presence. I lost my why because I lost presence. But then, of course, the right effort lacked because I was forgetting where I was and forgetting why I was doing the things I was doing. So, of course, that habit of work ethic kind of teetered off. And so right effort is possible when we're here now and when we understand why. So those are the three things, okay? So understanding why, having a clear definition, all right, once you get to the bottom of that why. The second is being here now more. That's where growth lies. And the third is right effort. How you do anything is how you do everything. Just remember, everything you don't like to do, how you do that and the effort you put towards that affects what you do care about, right? So when I was a basketball player growing up, I would work out 4 hours a day, had a crazy work ethic. But when it came to the dishes or came to mowing the lawn, I hated doing that stuff. I would put subpar effort and I made it look good. Or a great analogy is when, you kind of swirl your food around to make it look like you ate more, okay? That's kind of the effort most people put in when they don't like what they're doing, all right? You need to put right effort in no matter the situation because that builds the habit of right effort and will continue to build that work ethic habit and close that gap of cognitive dissonance. So remember, this podcast is for anyone who knows what they should be doing but can't get themselves to do it. These are all the steps that are going to help you get to that point and eventually habitualize it so it's super, super easy to have a good work ethic towards whatever you're trying to grow. But the biggest thing to remember too, let go of that time baggage. If you've thought some way your whole life, it's totally okay to reset and change it right now. That does not mean the past was a waste. Okay, it was leading you up to this moment to finally realize it. All right, nothing is a waste because right now is the only thing that matters. And right now is where all growth lies. And lastly, all growth is how fast you admit error. Thanks for listening, Gatekeepers. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.